Well, today's the big day. I woke up to a text from Natsuki that she'd sent almost 6 hours earlier. It just said to wish her luck, with a heart at the end. When I asked her how it was going, she just replied that they hadn't opened yet. In the end, I decided I was too anxious to go to school today. Instead, I head straight to the bakery. Oh my goodness, it is very pretty! And they did use the background. It like redesigned it basically. They did use the structure of the background. And that's what I was wondering. Natsuki's head snaps towards me the instant I open the door. Hey Ben! Not going to school today? Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss your grand opening for the world. Well, as someone who's heavily invested in your future, I have to say that you should be in school instead of skipping out every chance you get. But I'm glad you're here. Looking around, I see nothing but empty tables. How are things going? So far, you're the only customer. But it's still early. Besides, this is only the first day. Word's gonna get out eventually. Yeah, they are going to notice most likely if something's opening. I know, like our town is not like the best populated. When I like go around and something new is like popping up somewhere, I take note of it. I don't always think like, oh my god, I want to go there, but I will notice that it's there. And the target audience will notice too. That's true. Mind if I look at the goods? Just as long as you don't expect any free samples. You'll have to settle for whatever doesn't sell by the end of the day. Fair enough. Expect a selection on offer. It's quite an array. Natsuki must have worked furiously to get all this done this morning. I see multiple flavors of tarts, cookies, cupcakes, at least a half dozen types of bread. You really did all this by yourself this morning? Yep! It wasn't easy, but I went to the challenge. What about the poems? Have you got those though, too? Natsuki felt like it was important to have a theme for a cafe to help it stick out. Surprisingly, she chose a literature theme, stocking the walls with shelves of books, manga, and the like. And she decided that each cupcake sold would come with one of 5 poems she'd write weekly. She claims it'll help people feel more invested and want to return. If I get like a unique poem, like it's not unique since it's like one of 5, but even so, there's like something special about it, and it's like something that most other like bakeries don't have. Like that would be something that I'd be interested in. Of course, I'm also like a person who really enjoys poetry and everything, so that would intrigue me just by itself. And I like bread, so I would just come for the bread. Personally, I think she just misses the literature club. Although I do admit, it's a neat idea. If nothing else, it'll catch people's attention. Definitely. I finished the last of them this morning. Mind if I check them out? Are you buying a cupcake? I guess not right now. Then no can do. These masterpieces are for paying customers only. Alright. Well, I'm gonna stick around here until closing time. Let me know if there's anything I can help with, okay? I will. Thanks, Ben. A few hours later at lunchtime, I'm sitting at a table reading. Natsuki and I've been chatting on and off, but for now we're just waiting in silence as we wait for our first customers. When the door finally opens, we both anxiously turn to see who it is. As a group of girls files in, Natsuki stiffens. They're around our age, and some of them look familiar. Oh, Natsuki's old friends. Oh my gosh, it is her! I heard that she dropped out, but I never believed she'd actually go through with opening a bakery. And look at this place too. It's so cute. The girl's last word drips with disdain, and Natsuki visibly flinches. Suddenly it clicks for me. This must be Natsuki's old friend group. Or the people she used to spend time with. From what I've heard, friend isn't really the right word. Well, are you going to greet your customers? Or did you not see us come in? You know, since you're so busy. Natsuki clenches a fist. Welcome to what was that? Sorry, you spoke so quiet I couldn't hear you from over the crowd. Welcome to Sweet Beginnings, home of Gun. Home of the what? Home of the amazing cupcake poets. Each cupcake comes free with an original poem. The girls each laughed derisively. The poems written in crayon? I moved to get up, to tell them to leave, to do something. But as I do, Nuts clocks eyes with me and shakes her head. Feeling useless, I sit back down, clenching my glass. Hey, check out these bookshelves! Do you think if I do a little bit of... You don't mind if we do a bit of light reading, do you? The girl wanders over to one of the Natsuki's bookshelves. Feel free to eat anything in our selection, but please leave them here when you're finished. Natsuki they begin browsing her selection, making a big show of inspecting each title on display. Ooh, manga! I didn't know this place was a daycare, too. Please either make a purchase or leave the store. Loitering isn't... Oh, right. 1 cupcake each, please. Then we'll be on our way. Wouldn't want to hold you up when the big rush starts. Natsuki prepares their cupcakes in silence. As she hands them their food and poems, she shoots them a glare that would terrify me. On your way out, you'll notice a sign saying, please come again. You can go ahead and ignore it. Oh, you finally grew a spine. Good for you, Nat. Maybe someone will actually respect you someday. The 3 girls walk out, cupcakes in hand, chuckling over Natsuki's poems. As soon as they're out of sight, I get up and run to Natsuki. I'm so stupid. What did I think I could do this? Just screw up! Look at this place! It does look like a daycare! Just looking at it makes me want to puke. And who was I kidding? Nobody's going to care about my crappy poems. Natsuki, that's not... I cut off by the sound of the door opening. Natsuki and I will both spin around. Okay, I don't think... This could be some type of... character selection model, though. Where you can, like, address your characters and stuff. A familiar figure strides in, followed by a young girl. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting something. No! Natsuki practically jumps away from me, quickly wiping her eyes. Right. Well, anyway, you seem to have made yourself a fan. My daughter hasn't stopped talking about your baking since her... Maison. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. So I had to promise her that I'd take her here the day you opened. Do you have any more of those tarts you made? Which ones? The lemon or the custard? Actually, it doesn't matter. I made both. As her daughter picks out her selection, the woman wanders over to the bookcase. You should have a lot of books. Yeah, I thought I'd go for a literature theme. You know, people could come here to grab a snack, do some reading. I think that's a great idea. Not unlike the coffee houses of old and so... Not unlike the coffee houses of old in some ways. And you've got manga too? My husband would be going nuts right now. Not a big fan of manga, is he? Are you kidding? He's obsessed with it. Yeah, I was just saying. I'm pretty sure she's saying he would be like, oh my god, they have manga and baking here! It used to drive me crazy when we were dating, but that was just me being judgmental. He's even found a few that I've enjoyed over the years. That's so. It is. In fact, I think we're going to be repeat customers. Well, in that case, I look forward to seeing you again. Oh wait, before you go, Natsuki grabs the poem and hands it to the woman's daughter. You get one of these with every cupcake. A poem? Hey, this is pretty good. Did you write this? Well, yeah. I used to write them a lot. Alright, sweetie, you've got everything you wanted. It's time we got going. We can come back with your father another time. so he can read manga while you eat the cupcakes at the cafe. The pair thank Natsuki for the treats, then walk out. Those are now your first customers. They were the first customers. They also were the first to pay for, like, the bad misoir. Agreed at Natsuki. I'm sorry, you were saying? I think it was something about nobody caring. Shut up! And go sit down before someone else walks in. Okay, but first... Ah! Natsuki makes a show of being grossed out as I kiss her on the nose. I laugh, knowing she doesn't mean any of it. Alright, I'll just be in my usual spot. As hours tick past, more and more people stop by the bakery. We're never what you might call busy, but after a while it stops being so exciting every time the door opens. Not everyone buys something, a good portion just look around and ask about the place. But usually they buy a small snack to go. A few do hang around and browse through Natsuki's selection of literature. Later into the afternoon, when nobody's around, a small group walks in. Hi, Natsuki! And Ben, I thought I'd find you here. There's a playful disapproval in Monika's voice as she comments on my absence from school. Oh my gosh! I've never seen so many kinds of goodies in one place! I didn't even know you could make so many, Natsuki! I'm not in the least bit surprised. Natsuki's always been a talented baker. It would have been strange if she only knew how to bake cupcakes. Hey guys! Thanks for coming! Sayori, I'm happy to give you a couple of samples, but if you want that much, you'll have to pay for it. Sayori's piling a paper plate with what seems to be one of everything Natsuki made for the day. I knew that. I even broke my piggy bank for the occasion. We've all brought our savings, actually. I for one can't wait to see how you employed your skills when given complete creative freedom. Thanks you guys. How's the business been? About as good as I can expect, I guess. I wouldn't complain about having more customers, but people have been wandering in pretty regularly. And of course, they all leave satisfied. I expect to have plenty of repeat customers. I bet you will. Oh, by the way, Ben, did you tell about our latest club activity? No, I never really got the chance. With all the work she's been doing, I haven't had much opportunity to fill Natsuki in on what's happening at the club. What is happening at the club? What is it? Take a look for yourself, I brought a copy. Monika hands Natsuki a small pamphlet. I recognize it, having picked up a copy at school on Monday. Intrigued, Natsuki begins flipping through it. This is our newest project. Each week, we all make something to put in a pamphlet like that, and we pass them around the school. Everyone's putting in something different. I make poems, Yuri's writing a serialized fiction story, Sarah started on an advice column. That sounds pretty cool. Especially like, I would just be up there for like Yuri's serialized fiction story. Like, every pamphlet there is a piece of fiction, like of a story, an ongoing one. I would be in for that. Ben's even writing a manga! You started writing a manga and you didn't tell me! Well, you were so busy. Besides, it's not really any good. Maybe you should become a manga artist. Are you kidding? This is adorable! Even though I admit it's quite endearing. Oh? Was that a compliment I heard, Yuri? A small one. Well, I still prefer novels personally. Yeah. I knew we're too stubborn to change your mind that easily. As Monika and Yuri talk to Natsuki, Sarah quietly walks over to me. Hey, mind if we have a chat? No, not at all. Eagerly slide a chair out for Sayori, glad that she finally feels ready to talk. Sarah sits down, placing her slack of baked goods on the table. So, we haven't chatted in a while, huh? No, things have been pretty busy. Say this, I'm gripped by a strange feeling. For the first time in my life, I feel uncomfortable around Sayori. Even on the worst days, when I had no idea what she wanted from me, when I wanted more than anything to help her, but couldn't, I never felt awkward being around her. It's an intensely unwelcome feeling. It doesn't belong. With an agonizing silence, Sayori speaks up. No, that's not why. I guess you noticed that I figured out what was up with you and Natsuki, huh? Yeah. Sorry. It's okay. I get why you had to keep it a secret. It really hurt figuring it out, though. I'm glad that's when I started seeing somebody, because the last few weeks, all I've wanted was to talk to you. To have you comfort me. But that would have hurt more than anything else, you know? Having you close but knowing that you're with someone else. One of my closest friends. It was tearing me apart. I looked down, unable to help feeling a twinge of guilt. So it takes a breath before continuing. Anyway, my therapist and I've been talking a lot. She's actually been really helpful. Should really have thanked you sooner for getting me to go see her. It should have been your choice, Sayori. I will never change my mind on that. It's always that person's choice. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're doing better. You are doing better, right? Well, so far we've mostly just covered ways for me to handle really bad days. Coping mechanisms, you know? I've been having a lot of those these days, those days recently. But they're getting easier. That's not really why I want to talk to you, though.
Last week I told my therapist about you and Natsuki. I'd sort of mentioned you before, but that was the first time we had a full conversation about it. And she said a lot of helpful things, and a few things that really hurt to hear. But the point is, I think I'm okay with the two of you now. And I want to go back to being friends.
Are you sure? I don't want to make things worse for you.
I know you don't. And I'm sure. I don't want us to be like this forever.
Been thinking the exact same thing. Didn't want to say it out loud, even to Natsuki, but deep down I was worried that Sarah and I would never be able to just be friends again. Alright. I've missed you, Sayori.
I've missed you too.
Are you busy this weekend? Maybe we can drop by for lunch or something.
That should work. Oh, and Ben? I think I'd like to start spending time with Natsuki again. Just not both of you together. Not yet, anyway. Would you mind explaining all that to her for me?
Of course. She's been asking about you, actually.
She has? She's so sweet.
Yeah. She'd probably smack me for telling you, though.
Probably! I'm glad the whole place worked out for her. I hope things go okay.
Well, the first day went pretty well. Things are only bound to get busy as the word gets out, right?
That's right. And when I get a job, I spend all my money on cupcakes too.
I roll my eyes. I don't think that's very healthy.
What if I got carrot cake cupcakes?
I'm not sure that's much better. Besides, could you really stop yourself from getting everything else?
I guess not. Fine, I'll buy you some actual food. I'll buy some actual food. Meanie.
Hey, you two! Sorry to interrupt, but you and I are about to head out. Oh, alright. Thanks for coming, Monica. I turned to wave to Yuri. Thanks for coming, Yuri. I'll see you tomorrow. Yuri timidly raises a hand in acknowledgement.
Should probably be going too. I've got a lot of homework to do.
Alright. See you tomorrow.
Bye! See you tomorrow!
At the end of the day, when it becomes clear that no more customers are coming, Natsuki and I start cleaning up. Man, what a day, huh? No kidding. What time did you have to get up to get all this ready anyway? Oh, don't ask. Let's just say I don't plan on heading to the movies tonight. But it was all worth it. Look at how much we made today, Ben! Natsuki opens her phone, which she's hooked up to the cash register. I blink, surprised by the sum showed on screen. We made that much in one day? Well, kind of. That's just our gross income. We still have expenses to pay, you know? Most businesses take a long time to even start making a profit. But let's see. Natsuki moves to her calculator and begins plugging in the numbers. That's our gross. Subtract material costs, rent, utilities. Our grand total is... It's positive! We made a profit? Ben! We made a profit! On our first day! Natsuki is practically jumping up and down with excitement. I peer at the screen, finding a much more modest number. In fact, accounting for all the hours she put in today, I'm not even sure she made minimum wage. But it's a start. It's the first day, and we're making profit. Like, that's... This is incredible! I wasn't expecting to actually make money for months! Natsuki steps forward and rests her body against mine. I'm so proud of you, Natsuki, for all the work you put in. You deserve this more than anyone else in the world. Thanks, Ben. You know, I really couldn't have done this, any of this, without you. I know people say that all the time, but I really couldn't. I smile, holding her in place. For the first time in months, I feel truly at peace. I'm not worried about Sayu's depression or Natsuki starving. I'm not scouring the streets for enough bottles to scrape together a meal. I just need to finish school and find a job. Regular high school stuff. And for what might be the first time in my entire life, I'm excited for what the future will bring. There we go. It's the end already, but it was a good end. I do wonder what she is going to do. Let's get that artwork. Friends press by, okay. Yeah, they were very... Oh my god, I had like music work from him before currently. I just had music recently from him. Like by the time recording this sound effects. I'm guessing that's like also the clicking and everything. Maybe with Doki Doki Mod Maker. Thank you for making the mod! It was a happy, and I was kind of worried after the movie with Yuri that it was like hinting at something. But it wasn't. Okay. So, I think this should be a pretty short review, because I don't have too much to say. I will have to edit something later, I already know. I'm not fully sure how to handle certain things. I'm also wondering if I'll just give a regular score, like... It's over a year now that I've started uploading. I'm pretty sure by the time I'm uploading this. And I think it might be a good change for me to also like switch up the way I do reviews. Because like the accuracy of the canon and doing the story in general part it's kind of good for me, but I also feel like it doesn't always work, especially for specific things. And I think this might be something like that. I will still kind of go like, will kind of part it in my mind and talk about them separately, but like not give separate reviews, that's what I mean. Maybe I can try it here, but I don't know right now. The reason for that is that I'm not fully sure how I want to do it. But one thing I am sure is that I actually want to just give it a 10 out of 10. Like, I probably would a story like this probably would not have caught my interest immediately if it wasn't DDLC related. But as a DDLC mod and everything, I think it was a very good experience. Accuracy to canon, like story in general, I should start with story in general, because there are the more difficult things to also explore. One thing I'm going to edit is when it's about the therapy talk. If you've seen it, you've seen it. It's about, I have like a very bad relationship with therapy due to my experiences, due to the experiences with of the people around me. And so I'm always like very like, it usually feels like it's pushed as the only option and the only way to get better. I don't like the way it was phrased here, but it makes sense for the MC to phrase it that way. And I'm not going to complain about it being helpful. I know there are people that have gained help from it. It's just that due to me only hearing about it online and in my personal surroundings and usually having negative effects, it's kind of a bit difficult for me to sometimes like fully view it that way, but I do know that positive things can happen, and I don't think there's any problem with that. I do think it should have been phrased much better, like it should have been the phrasing of DMC, if he should have handled it differently, but like, that's like a thing of like, he's just a teenage guy. It's just how there are multiple situations, like what I talked about earlier, with how he handled like keeping things secret, and then also spilling things that the other person that without permission, but it makes like sense for like the character. So even though I don't really approve of it, as in like I don't think that's a good way exactly to handle it, I don't think there's anything wrong with characters like doing these things. It's going to happen, and especially teenagers are not always going to know how to handle these situations, and it's not like I fully know how to handle these situations. I just know how I would recommend, like, if I have recommended therapy before, or like, not exactly recommended it, but suggested it as like a possible thing to try. And I know how I would phrase it, and how I feel it would be better phrased, but like, generally speaking, a lot of these situations where I'm also like, I don't know if that was handled the best. There are specific situations where I would be like, I'm not fully sure how I would react in these situations either. And it makes sense for the MC. That's why, story-wise, I don't really see anything big, a problem. I think it was very good. I liked the way the story unfolded. I think there was sometimes like moments of drama that felt a bit strange, but I do think it made sense for the characters and like the conflicts that they kind of still wanted to resolve. The only thing I felt really awkward was the Shufton thing of like the advantage, like how he could have taken advantage of her, but you know what? I've read books that have less good writing than this mod recently, and even those I don't want to be too harsh on. And like, as like a mod, you know, a form of porn? What the fuck? A form of fan media. Perfectly fine to like I know the first story I wrote. My god, the weird situations I put in for no reason other than like a dramatic moment. And it's kind of interesting because maybe there was kind of this point of wanting to explore the relationship further. I'm not sure it had kind of that effect on me, like that it appeared that way. But I think that's what they were trying to do, like add more layers to the relationship of like Natsuki having like some of these insecurity struggles and therefore being like pretty vulnerable. Things like that, I think that's what they were trying to explore with it. And I felt it did pretty well. So, if I were still to part it, I would give the story 10 out of 10. Accuracy to canon? Characters were for, like, almost perfectly fine. I keep saying, like, it was perfectly fine, even though what I'm trying to say is that it was good, that I enjoyed it that way. Sayori was perfectly in character. Like, the way she struggles with identifying her emotions, but she can kind of know what direction it's kind of going in. And also, like, the things that matter to her. Monica's still struggling with her word choice and having, like, due to her lack of context and her kind of, like, unaware of situations, being, like, very important the way she phrases things. Yuri was perfectly in character. I don't have anything to really say, like, extremely about her either. She kind of had, like, the development from the side stories also kind of mixed in there. And, Natsuki was also in character with, like, the way she took Monica's statement, her struggle with insecurities and everything. Character-wise, I have mostly no complaints. The thing I'm kind of concerned about is Natsuki not being aware, like, thinking Sayori would joke about this. The problem is, however, I don't think with the character, but rather with something else. That's the thing. In this case, my problems with, like, the accuracy canon don't really stem from the characters at all. I think that was one of the mods with the best written, like, in-character things I've kind of seen. Like, Natsuki being a bit more snappy, like she is in Act 2 and everything. A bit more prone to being emotional and also aggressive. While still having, like, attributes that are, like, normal for an Act 1 and 2 and the side stories. Need to drink something. Like, it felt it was, like, one of the best ones with, like, with the characters, like, all the characters had, like, moments where they showed off traits that I can see happening, and that definitely would happen, like, that kind of related to, like, how the reactions of the past, which we kind of have seen with what they struggle with and everything, just the things that genuinely just make sense. The thing is, I've also, like, once made it before with a mod. Accuracy to canon was lowered by the fact that, it was happening, like, it was supposed to take place in the same universe as, like, genuinely the main game. And due to that, contradictions popped up, and it's kind of the problem here as well. It's just, like, due to this mixture of side stories and main game, there are contradictions popping up, and it seems like they are implying that there are, like, multiple instances. I think on specific levels this makes sense. For example, why was Natsuki more prone to take Monica as, like, genuinely trying to be mean to her? She's taking it that way because main game Monica kind of showed a level of disrespect again, which wouldn't make sense given that she's learned to respect Natsuki in the side stories by moving her manga around and everything. So it kind of does add to, like, the characters making sense, but it also is, like, due to that, it's like Natsuki had to be kind of dumbed down, not dumbed down, but, like, not take Sayori seriously, which I can't see happening, and didn't seem like it was happening too much, really, but we didn't see enough of it either. As well as, like, the entire fight and everything, or... The problem is, I don't know what of the main game is canon now. With, like, Sayori acting weird and everything was canon. What about, like, the Natsuki events? Are they part of it? Because Natsuki still has a toxic friend, talks about them in the events, and that's, like, the problem for me. That's always the problem with, like, these mixed things. Like, how am I supposed to take it? They're contradicting they're contradicting universes in of themselves, and now mixed together. And then like the mod like this, I kind of just need like to know what was taken, like how it's supposed to be developing there. Otherwise, it's freaking me out. But I don't think I should be too harsh on it either, because like, if you try to do only like side story or main game universes, you would have like a limited set of mods. I've played many mods that take place in like their own kind of universe or kind of idea of like DDLC but normal, without Civil War Monica, or DDLC in a universe. You know, just universes that also just simply don't exist in the main game. And it's like, those things are necessary to craft like unique stories. And so I don't want to be harsh either, just because they like decided to mix these two together. It's just, I don't know that that's was like the main thing where I often felt like, but this contradicts that, and due to that this now doesn't make sense because it only makes sense for one universe. And but the problem is it didn't drag my enjoyment down much either. So I don't think I should be harsh on it. Like I said, I want to give it a 10 out of 10. Because I loved the characterization in this one. Like, simply for the fact that I felt like the characters were genuinely, like, very great in character. And I could see all of them acting like this. Or struggling with specific things, or, like, having these things. Of course, with the accuracy canon, there's also, like, the thing of, like, Natsuki's father being from Act 2. But, like, we're already mashing universes together that don't align. There's just another one thrown in there. I loved the characters, the way the characters were written. The story itself, it's like, I'm not too big on like these types of storylines, but I did think it was sweet. And I do kind of like this idea of like, I don't know if it was the intention, but if it was, then I like it. Of like these May flowers, flowers are like blooming. Flowers are like, where they connect with flowers is blooming. And so in May, the May flowers, what begins to bloom in May, is like the restaurant. I don't know. I kind of love that idea, but I don't know if that was the intention anyway. But I really enjoyed the mod. Like, even though I kept like having small little outtakes of my brain where it was like, oof, it didn't really drag my enjoyment down at all. So I give it a 10 out of 10. I mostly had my fun. I also really like seeing the bakery, that they actually used like this image and then the second image for the bakery, and this little title screen, and this load and stuff menu. I don't know why this makes me so happy seeing the interior. Does still, I don't know, I shouldn't be this happy about this. Wait a second, settings, oh wait, no, extras, parallels. We have a few parallels here. Extras for this, credits, dev letter. Let's check that out real quick. And then I'll do a parallels for a little extra video, maybe. From Strigonian. Hey everyone, Strigonian here. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Just want to say thanks for playing my mod, and I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I've gotten a fair few people wanting to talk to me about it, so I thought I'd put this here to answer some of the more common questions. But please don't take this as me giving anyone the brush off. If there's anything else you want to say or ask, you can find me on Discord or on the Discord or the subreddit. I may not be very active, but I am there. With that said, I apologize in advance for what will surely be a rambling letter. I've never had the gift of brevity. Now let's have this as the end. Mayflowers was the first mod I ever released. It was not, by any stretch, the first mod I started. When I first played DDLC in 2020, it absolutely ruined me, and I've been trying to make mods ever since. Fortunately, as anyone who played the original release can attest, I have no talent for music or visual arts. Every mod I started was stymied by a lack of the required assets, be they character sprites, backgrounds, or sound effects. I started at least a half-dozen mods, only to stop when the script requires something I couldn't make or find. I knew some people worked in teams, but I didn't want to join, much less lead a team unless I released something to show my work. It wasn't until 2024 and the Spring Hope mod jam that I was able to settle on a script that I could accomplish by myself. Being forced to work under limitations gave me the excuse to make a small, fully self-contained mod for the sole purpose of getting something out there. I figured that mod jam entries would be expected to be unpolished, so I could focus just on the writing. The plot came to me fairly easily once I had the spark of an idea. The story of May Flowers was inspired by my first relationship, though heavily dramatized. The bulk of the plot almost wrote itself, and I was done writing the first act in under a week. Of course, nothing's ever quite so simple. I'll spare you the details, but suffice to say, development of the mod was turbulent at best. I gave him frustration multiple times before ultimately deciding I'd regret not publishing something, so I slapped together assets at the last minute, threw on some music, and sent it on its merry way to the judges. By that time I was so burnt out that I didn't even proofread the final act or scan the finished product for bugs. That then is the context behind the original release of May Flowers, and I hope it explains some of the flaws it had. It was a passion project made quickly by a single writer who knew nothing about the rest of the skills that went into making a mod. At its heart, that's what May Flowers' Sweet Beginnings is too. I took the time to improve the UI, sprites, music, and the like, but I intentionally left the script alone. I've seen too many writers make something that is well received, only to go back later and ruin their work in the name of fixing its flaws. Maybe they did notice that specific things were also like strange from previous reviews, but I do think it makes sense like to just polish the product. Give it new sprites and everything. If the story was overall enjoyable. Like even if it has like a few things that might be for me personally, for example, just a problem, or like it wasn't even that big of a problem, doesn't mean that I have to keep restarting. People have rightfully pointed out that the mod is a bit too short for the story it's trying to tell. That many conflicts are overcome with no real consequences, and that some plot points basically resolve themselves. Unfortunately, fixing any of these issues would require a serious overhaul of the mod, and I don't know whether the May Flowers that people love would survive the procedure. I'm not one to let perfect be the enemy of good, and many people seem to genuinely appreciate the story as it is, so that's why I'm leaving it. Maybe sometime I'll have the confidence, deserving or not, to attempt a rewrite from the ground up. For now, I don't. My sights are currently set elsewhere, and I plan to take what I've learned to new places. Thank you for all for reading this and for playing my mod, Stegorian. Yeah. I get that, there were like, yeah, the conflicts were kind of sometimes a bit like, just there. But I honestly didn't mind that too much either. Mods are a form of fan work. Fan work. It's kind of like fanfiction with extra images and everything. I'm never going to hold it to the same standard as like I said, these novels that I'm reading, for example. And as a fan work, the most important thing is kind of in there the passion. And by all means that like a lot of things were like at the beginning, I don't know what the first project was like. Was like kind of a bit thrown together. It did come clearly from a passion around DDLC and its characters. Because I did notice that they like the characters. I did notice that. And I think that's more important than making like the perfect story too. A story is never going to be perfect for everybody anyways. For example, imagine a story where they're like like in my case, everyone's very critical of therapy and it takes a lot of time to find the right one, and some will never go to therapy. Like some people have gone to therapy and had like good benefits from it. They would be like, what about like their experience would also kind of be like not exactly invalidated if it would end up with like a good therapist, but like still it would kind of feel like probably also kind of invalidating to them, and they would be rightful in those feelings too. Like I would prefer a mod where I would prefer a story where it's kind of like a mixture of people benefiting, not benefiting immediately, some never really getting over it, or like getting over it, never really finding something in therapy that works for them, and so trying different things, or like they're trying different ways of therapy. But even then, that would like require a long story, and especially for like a story that is supposed to be like the self-contained story, like here, just a bit of a shorter mod, telling a bit of a story that did come from the heart and from a passion for wanting to try to make something for DDLC, for something they enjoyed, and I think it did that well. So, I will do the extras in an extra little episode. The parallels, I mean, the credits we kind of saw already. Oh.
The extras aren't working. Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Oh no. Did I do something wrong? Okay. And then go into the extras. Preheat. Whoop. Extras. The extras aren't working for me! So, I guess I'll have to add this portion. The extras aren't working! I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If anyone can tell me what's wrong, I might upload, like, the extras another time. If someone can tell me what exactly I'm doing wrong, that I... or if it's just generally not really working. If someone can tell me what I'm doing wrong, then please tell me. And then I will do it another time. Maybe I will do it the following year in May as like a little extra little episode. I was so excited!
You know what? Let's have them in the background while I say goodbye. Yeah, the parallels will be in an extra little episode, like what I kind of did for Exit Music and Salvation Remake. And I will... If there anything big happens and that makes me decide, oh my god, I hate this mod now. No, but like that, I like this mod less now for some reason, and I will say it then. But I don't think it's going to be that bad at all. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for making this mod. I hope you have a good night, morning, evening, or morning, evening, afternoon. There you go. And I hope you all stay safe and achieve your dreams.